Okay, so, yeah, you guys want to just stand sort of here? A little closer, come in closer. That's cool. That's great. All right. And Greg is playing journalist. Are we good to start, or do you want me to wait a couple? No, we're fine, right? Okay. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. This morning, I'm delighted to be joined by some incredible activists who have been working hard to tackle the issue of period poverty in our schools. Maya Larondo is a grade 12 student from here in Toronto who, along with others in her school, have been distributing menstrual products through what's known at her school as the period locker, and can speak to how the issue is impacting students. Hannah Legault has joined us from St. Catharines, where she helped found the Niagara chapter of the Red Box Project to help collect donations of menstrual supplies to deliver to schools. And trustee Stephanie Donaldson was the sponsor of a recently passed motion at the Toronto District School Board, the largest in Ontario, to provide free menstrual products in schools. Let's face it, menstruation is a normal biological function experienced by half of the population. Yet for too many students in Ontario, a lack of access to menstrual products can lead to embarrassment, shame, and missed days at school. 1/3 of Canadian women under 25 have struggled to afford menstrual products, and 70% say they have missed school or work because of their period. No one should have to miss school because they can't afford the menstrual hygiene products they need. But the good news is it doesn't have to be this way. An incredible movement has formed to break down stigma around menstrual hygiene and to ensure access to these essential products, as my guests here are about to tell you. But I want to take a moment to recognize the work of organizations as well, like Period Purse, Canadian menstruators who fought to have the tax removed on menstrual products federally, and my MPP colleague, Butila Carpacci, for her Girls Government group, who does a lot of work to highlight this issue. You'll find that students, the public, and school boards are ready to take action. All that's missing here is the provincial government. That's why in June, I tabled a motion in the House calling for the Ontario government to provide free menstrual hygiene supplies in all publicly funded schools. This summer, I raised the issue with the Minister of Education, looking for his support. British Columbia has already committed to do so by the end of 2019. And in September, Nova Scotia became the second province to make the move. Today, I'm renewing my call for the Ford government to take action to promote menstrual health and equity by providing these needed products in our schools. And now I'd like to turn this over to my amazing guests to talk about how they've been working to end period poverty in schools in this province. And then I'm going to wrap up. So I'm going to turn it over to Maya for a moment. Maya?
All right, thank you so much, Marit, and I'm very honored to be here today to show my support for this motion. So I'm a grade 12 student, and I can personally attest to how important supplying menstrual products is. I currently run a kind of supply locker at my school where I keep pads and tampons for girls to use. The combination is freely available to anyone who needs it, and we've had a number of people using this locker this year. This was started and originally run by a girl at my school who has since graduated, and we all felt that it was very important to keep alive. Not all girls feel comfortable asking an adult or even a classmate for a pad or a tampon, especially younger girls who are still getting used to it. I'm glad that girls at my school and I have worked together to make these products available, but we really shouldn't have to. Access to menstrual products is a human right, and having them available in schools in a hassle-free way would change our lives as girls and would go a very long way in making a lot of us feel very comfortable. This motion is standing behind all young women in Ontario, and I thank Marit for all of us across the province. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maya. And now I want to welcome Hannah Legault to talk a little bit about the work that's been going on in St. Catharines.
So my name is Hannah, and I'm a resident of Niagara, a mother of 2, a harm reduction worker, and before anything else, I'm a person who menstruates. I started the Red Box Project Niagara in 2018 to provide a short-term solution to period poverty. Through partnership with more than 20 local businesses, I've been able to provide the students at over 25 schools with free menstrual products. This project expands across 4 school boards, 7 cities, and multiple family structures. Socioeconomic status is the largest barrier in access to menstrual items. Students who bleed cannot reach their full potential in the classroom while concerned about when or how they will access their period supplies. The unfortunate reality is that more than 70% of bleeders have missed out on school or related activities due to their period. For too many families, the cost of this basic need breaks the monthly budget. By supplying no-cost, barrier-free menstrual products to Ontario students, you are empowering menstruators with a dignified choice in their reproductive health. I'm here to support Marit Stiles' motion, as I can attest to the gender disadvantage that period poverty is creating in our schools. Supporting this motion means supporting the right to barrier-free equal education in Ontario. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's so great to hear these stories and just to be reminded that this is not an issue in other parts of the world. This is an issue right here in our province for so many families. I want to turn now to Trustee Stephanie Donaldson from the Toronto District School Board to talk about the motion that she brought forward to actually ensure that supplies could be available for free to all our schools in the Toronto District School Board. So, Stephanie?
Thanks. Thanks, and I could not agree more. I think fundamentally, if we believe that everyone deserves equal access to public education, then the people who are elected, like myself as a trustee, and the MPPs in the provincial government will be working really hard to break down the systemic barriers that prevent access. And we know, the statistics show us that 1 in 7 girls are either missing part of school or entire days of school because they don't have access to these products, and they don't have access to these products for free, as well as there being a stigma. So I am so deeply grateful for all of the work that everyone is doing on this to raise awareness and to make sure that we are working hard, like Marit is with this motion, to break down these systemic barriers that exist across this province. In the TDSB, the work that we did there with my colleague, Trustee Harpreet Gill, was fully inspired by student voice. Students from particularly Etobicoke School for the Arts wrote to us to express their great desire that the trustees in the TDSB make this happen in our schools. And we also worked with a student trustee, an amazing student trustee from London, Ontario at the Thames Valley District School Board, who also happens to be the president of the Ontario Student Trustees Association, Sarah Chun, who was she was the first student and the first trustee across the province to make this happen in her school board in Thames Valley. Next, it was Waterloo District School Board, and now the TDSB. And since we passed the motion at our board at the end of August, I've heard from trustees all over this province who are working hard to get this done in their school, and also working with their student trustees, which I think is excellent, because student voice should be such a huge part of the work that we're doing in public education in this province. So, and I just want to say one final thing too, and that is, we talk a lot about making schools welcoming spaces for all of our students. Yet in our schools, we are providing supplies like toilet paper for the entire school population, but we're missing out on more than half of the female school population who doesn't currently have access to these products. And that is not the most welcoming environment that we could be providing for women and girls in our schools. So again, I'm really happy to support Marit's motion. And I hope that more MPPs that are elected in Ontario can get behind this, and get behind it sooner rather than later, because these girls cannot wait. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Thank you so much to all of you. It was, again, it's so important to hear, again, student voice, what people across our communities are doing, parents in our communities, trustees in our communities. And it is, I think, also a clear picture of how for generations women have been patching together solutions to a reality that is as natural as eating or sleeping or brushing your teeth. Half our population needs these supplies for a big part of your life every single month. But menstrual supplies haven't been treated as a necessity, which they are. We provide toilet paper and soap in our washrooms. Pads and tampons should be just as accessible. And we should acknowledge that for young people, going to the office and having to ask for help is not an option, especially, as Maya pointed out, for our younger students. The shame and the stigma around menstruation is still very strong. We need to break that down, treat this as normal, and support our young people. We have waited long enough. I think it's fair to say. It's 2019. We need to get this done. And I think what I want to also mention before I close is that we need to ensure that it's not just up to individual school boards to provide these supplies, because if we are able to access these supplies in school washrooms in Toronto, we should also, our students in Thunder Bay should be able to access these supplies. Our students in Ottawa should be able to access these supplies freely as well. So this is an equity issue. It needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed sooner rather than later. I am actually following up on this press conference. I'm going to be writing another letter to the Minister of Education with a copy of my motion attached, asking him to act urgently to support our motion and bring free menstrual supplies to all of our students across Ontario. Thank you very much.